Okay, today we're looking at Aristotle's metaphysics. There are a lot of texts that are left from Aristotle, and of course he has had a massive influence on the development of thought, and this is partly because a lot of his work has survived, fortunately. Just like Plato, a lot of his work has survived as well, or certainly the Republic has survived, whereas a lot of the pre-Socratics, we've got very little left from them, sadly. And I think that is very sad, because I actually think that these guys were really interesting thinkers. They really were. But with Aristotle, he's another very interesting thinker, and I'm using the W.D. Ross translation of his metaphysics, and I've only taken these ideas from the very first book of Aristotle's metaphysics, which is Big Alpha and Little Alpha. I think that's what we call them, Big Alpha and Little Alpha. Yeah, and that's all I've taken this from. But in the next class, because I want to do another one on Aristotle, I want to look at Aristotle's idea of what substance is, what essence is, what's at the basis of reality, what stuff is at the basis of reality. And I want to look at that in another class, and I know that one of the books at the end of the metaphysics, book Zeta, deals with this in detail, so we'll look at that in another class. But we start by looking at types of knowledge according to Aristotle, and he points out that there's knowledge from sense perception, which is perhaps the most basic kind of knowledge, but then there's also knowledge from memory. You can have memories, of course we all do, we all have memories of different things we have already perceived with our senses. And memory, several memories of the same thing, the same object, is precisely what produces our capacity for experience. We're able to experience the world because of this memory. It's because of this memory, having memories of different things, that we can experience things. And experience, what is experience? Well, experience is knowledge of individuals, knowledge of particular things. We remember individual things, specific things, in other words, many different things. And from these many notions, from these many different things that we experience, that we gain in experience, we can make a leap. We can start to gain knowledge of universals, because we can apply one universal judgment about a class of objects. And this is what we're doing in art and science, according to Aristotle. So in science, we take a lot of different experiences, perhaps experiences of experiments, where we have tested different ideas, and using those experiments, we're able to make one judgment about a whole class of things. For example, we're able to say that something like water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, and we get this idea, this notion, from experience. We get this idea from the memory of watching water boil again and again and again at that temperature when the mercury hits 100 degrees. And so this is knowledge of universals, and of course this is some kind of high type of knowledge when compared with knowledge from sense perception, which is perhaps the most basic. And so what is wisdom? What is knowledge? Well, Aristotle deals with these difficult questions straight away, and he gives you an answer which I think a lot of people would agree with. He says that wisdom is knowledge of first principles. In other words, knowledge of causes.